All right, here we are, backstage at Rough Trade East, sitting on an arrangement of fun seats with field music. Welcome to London.
Thanks for having us.
Hello. How is it so far for you in the big capital?
We've had a productive day where we've managed to fit all of the things in that were on the schedule without anything going too awry. So that is definitely a success.
That's good. And for January, when people aren't meant to be pushing themselves, you guys are achieving.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's achieving, really. We're just meant to be in the right places at the right time, really, and just sometimes even play the right notes and the right songs. So hopefully we'll do that later on.
Well, the right place, the right time is here at Rough Trade East tonight, where we're going to see Making a New World performed on stage. Do we get the whole record tonight? Do we hear the whole thing?
No, it's far too long for that.
Okay.
Far too long.
We're mostly going to do the ones that are more like normal songs for this setting.
Yeah.
When we go into next month, we'll give people the full audio-visual experience.
So this show comes with an audio-visual experience, which is videos, it's bits of clips, it's bits of text. Are you practicing performing along to that at the moment in rehearsals? Is that going to be a tricky thing to do?
If we were having rehearsals, we would be. We have one rehearsal after this little in-store tour before the first of the full shows. But we wrote it like that. We wrote it to be performed in one go. It was originally done for a commission for the Imperial War Museum last January. So then we rehearsed it in that way, where we play the full 40-odd minutes in one go. So hopefully it'll be like a refresher rehearsal. And then we'd be ready.
So the lucky viewers at the Imperial War Museum have seen and heard all this before.
We've refined the music since then. One of the tracks has even got lyrics that it didn't have before. And I suppose we've been like working on it since then, on and off. So it'll be slightly different from that. And then at the gigs next month, we'll throw in a few extra field music tunes, which we've got visuals for as well. It won't exactly tie in with the kind of Making a New World concept, but that'll be like a visual element to the extra songs we play.
How did the commission come about with the Imperial War Museum? Did they give you a bit of a brief and then did you pitch them with some sounds and with some ideas?
Initially, I think they just wanted us to do a gig at Imperial War Museum North, which is in Manchester, and I think they wanted it to be inspired by this artifact, which was it looks a bit like a seismograph reading, kind of like earthquakes, but it was basically guns instead of earthquakes, essentially, and this kind of mapped where the enemy guns were. And anyway, this some bright soldier decided that they were going to capture the end of the war on this seismograph, basically. We'll call it sound ranging equipment. And on the 11th hour of the 11th day, 1 minute beforehand, somebody set this machine away running and basically captured the end of the war on the Western Front, where you see all these vibrations, all of these kind of like little earthquakes, these bombs going off, or these shells falling, and then it's just kind of these 6 seismograph lines are blank. So that was it, really. They wanted something that was kind of inspired by that. They didn't even necessarily want us to make any new music, but we thought it was a good opportunity to try and do something new.
And here we are with Making a New World, which came out on Friday, which was 100 years to the day from the Treaty of Versailles being signed. You're part of new history.
Not since it was signed, since it came into effect.
Okay.
I spent a little bit of time being fact-checked by historians, so now we've become very pedantic about these things.
Auto-correcting everyone. So it's a concept record. It's about life after World War I and just changes in society and how people are living in this country and what women had to go through at the time and your ideas of that. How long did it take you to conjure up these stories, songs?
We started researching in September 2018, and the performances were at the end of January 2019. So the research, the writing, the arranging and rehearsing with the band were pretty condensed. But the stories that we found were so interesting that it didn't feel like a rush at all. It felt like we had lots of ideas, and there weren't many that we struggled with. I tried to do one about Vesta Tilly, and I gave up on that one. But I mean, we already had so many tracks, we were fine.
There's a film out in the cinemas right now called 1917, which is all about World War One, and it's number one in the charts. So hopefully, come this Friday, your record will go to number one in the charts.
I would have thought so.
Number one in the concept albums about the aftermath of the First World War charts.
Yeah. Unless
the soundtrack for that film has come out at the same time. Let's see.
It's a concept record. How easy or tricky is it to make a concept record?
Oh, this one was a piece of cake. We've never really done one before, and we might never do one again. So, we had a concept to work to.
Yeah,
and
so I think, like framing something, having something to work to within a frame, within boundaries.
We didn't have that like blank page syndrome you have, where it's like, right, okay, write a song. We had things to write about. We had things to aim for, and that sped up the process. I think it wasn't difficult.
It's almost like writing in the same key.
But the key was things that were, a result of the things that happened during the First World War.
Quite a lot of instrumentals on this record. Quite a few bits of just music. Are the noisy days over?
I mean, it depends what the noisy days are, really. Possibly.
But you've added some vocals to some of the instrumentals since your Jan performance. So the noisy days are back. They're back around.
Well, I don't think our vocals are that noisy, really. I think they're quite. I don't know.
Harmonic, I'd say.
Measured.
There was some stories that we wanted to include in the record where there was no way to write a song about them without it being terribly trite. So you're writing about like the influenza pandemic. You can't. I don't think we could have done a good job of writing this song about that.
Yeah, so the instrumentals is basically like background to the text in a way, because the visuals, which Kev, our guitarist, put together all of the visuals for the film. So sometimes the music's kind of background. So we won't be doing those today because they might be quite boring. But sometimes the stories are so kind of complicated, and you want to kind of have time to think about them. They just need to be just have some instrumental music in the background. Really, that's the idea.
Other than come and see you live and see this in the flesh, how would you like your listeners to enjoy this record? Where do you want them to be, sit, stand?
I kind of imagine a lot of people listening to it while browsing Wikipedia, to be honest, because which is kind of how we made it. It's the kind of record where hopefully you can take it on a surface level and it just sounds interesting. There's nice songs and melodies, and then you could get into the text. There's a little bit of text which accompanies each song, and then you could see how that text ties in with the lyrics. But we haven't explained everything. It's not a dissertation, and there might be some things in there where people want to explore further, and they can do it in the same we did, like the same way that we did. If you search for Dr. Harold Gillies, who performed some of the first gender reassignment operations, having honed his skills as a skin graft surgeon in the war, you can find out loads about him, and it's totally fascinating. If you want to find out about Becontree Housing Estate, you can find out loads about it, and we wrote a song about the best kept garden competitions from this like new housing estate that was built. You can find out about those things in the same way that we did, by like that amateurish research online. Go and be an amateur historian.
Could this be the first ever album to do amateurish research to? I think it could. I mean, I've done it before to other albums, but I don't think they were specifically made for that purpose. So I'm quite proud of that.
I've got potential another follow-up for you. So this is all about World War One. You could maybe do a follow-up that's about the second series Sunderland Till I Die, which should be out on Netflix soonish.
I haven't seen the first one. I haven't seen the first one. It's too
all
close.
good. It's all right. A friend of ours, Marty Longstaff, he did the song for that. He can just keep doing the songs for that. He's got the knack.
Field Music, thanks very much for chatting to us today.
Thank you.
Best of luck tonight and on the tour.
Thanks.
And we'll see you very soon.